Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Before we start, I'd like to confirm with the commission members if our quorum has been met for this session, and if the parliament members are here, you can raise your hands. Once again, to the parliament members, if you are present, please raise your hands. I'd like to confirm whether our quorum has been met to continue the afternoon session. We'll wait for one more minute. Once again, members of the parliament, if you are present, please raise your hands, because I'd like to confirm whether our quorum has been met or not. There are currently 17 people, so we are waiting for more members of the parliament to raise their hands if you are present. Please raise your hands if you haven't do so. Again, we are waiting for more parliament members to enter, so if you are present in this hall, please raise your hand. We are currently waiting for more members to enter the hall, so please be patient. Again, if you are present in this hall, please raise your hand so we can count whether you are present or not. Thank you. All right, so I would once again like to confirm with the Parliament Commission members whether our quorum has been met for this second session.
Assalamualaikum. I'm Ashraf Rosdan, Chief Officer of PR Parliament Commission. I confirm that the quorum is met. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Brother Ashraf. Right, so before we start, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Amalin Aisyah binti Azman, a final year student from Kuliah of Science, and I will be the deputy speaker for today's parliament sitting, and I will take over for this afternoon session. Right, so we head straight on to the fourth motion presentation, which is the involvement of international student representative in IIUM Student Union lineup. So I would like to invite Brother Abdurrahman Bakil or his deputy, I believe, to present this motion. Please welcome.
Madam. The Student Union, our president is going to present and the slide. Thank you. Will be commission.
I'm sorry, Brother Rahman, but your line is kind of lagging.
Is by the person. So then our president will present the slide. We'll talk about the slide.
Sorry, Brother Rahman, but can you type it in the chat box because your line is quite lagging, so your voice wasn't clear just now. And simply just type in the chat box. Brother Rahman, they've shared the slides, so you can proceed with presenting your motion.
All right. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Honorable Deputy Speaker, perhaps if you're not here, I clarify on behalf of Brother Rahman. He invite me to present on behalf of him. Is it allowed?
Yes, you may proceed.
Thank you so much, Madam Deputy. And again, respected members of the Assembly, we will make it as clear as we can and as brief as I can, inshallah. Basically, the motion is about to ensure the involvement of international students representative in IIUM Student Union lineup. The next slide. Basically, we have been approached by international students, and we have made several discussions, including with our advisor, including with the entities that related to these issues, and most importantly, the stakeholder that we are going to talk about. Next slide, please. Which is the international student. So I would like to take this opportunity to explain more about this. All right. And as an introduction, IIM Student Union, we hold this very big focus throughout our tenure, which we want to ensure and to instill the existence of international representation among IIUM SU members. And we believe that the seat of Office of International Affairs in IIUM SU is a good benchmark for an international student to move forward for the current and the future tenures. And next, the ground of consideration is other than the concern and also the voices of international students at large, we also consider what has been advised by our Honorable Tan Sri Rector, in which he encouraged us to make sure that there is equal representation among the IIUM SU members and make sure that every initiative, every concerns that related to student, we should take part to ensure that they understand the issue first, and then they are being invited in a very inviting manner to be part of it. Since IIUM Student Union is going to, since the establishment of IIUM Student Union, we see that this platform should be moved to the fullest, including to be as inclusive as we can, to be as inviting as we can, to take care of every stakeholders in the university. And this motion, even though it specifically mentioned about international student, and we would never deny that any further or possible and potential motion to ensure the voices of either group of and community of students to be rest assured in parliament and representation will also be considered. But for the purpose of this motion, next we would like to propose that we need to strengthen, we need to have a good what we call a good decision making, and we need to have a good platform on having agreement and acknowledgement by every members of the parliament to have your opinion and also to have your agreement on this one important mission which IIM Student Union is currently taking care of, which is to strengthen the bond between local and international community and to increase the loyalty of international students to IIUM Student Union, in which if we can say the numbers of total numbers of students are currently around 26,000 to 30,000. And student union, actually we not talking about undergraduate student, we also talk about postgraduate students, and the stakeholder is bigger, very much bigger than what I can ever expected before I turn up to be in this position. So I believe in order to ensure this ground of consideration, perhaps we need from at this period of time, maybe for several years, we need to make one clear platform to ensure that our position and the bonding, the loyalty of international students to be increased and enhanced. And by that mean, we would like to propose this motion as that platform to lead the way on how we can increase the loyalty and also to ensure that student union is not only for local, and every initiative should be made accordingly to all members of the student union. And next, the implementation that and suggestion before we go to our plan. This is the introduction of implementation, I believe. This integration of Office of International and Welfare into two separate offices established on April 21 and 22. Structure of the Office of International Affairs is divided into two bureaus, one foreign affairs and two community and cultural engagement. The bureaus play a substantial role in serving the international student and strengthening the relationship between international and local. I believe this is not the main implementation that we want to suggest. This our international officer would like to portray that there are reason behind the structure that we have since our starting of our tenure, we decided to establish a separate office of international and welfare due to the reason that this office have a big role to ensure that to ensure the ground of consideration that I have experienced now. And next. This is also something that our international officer would like to portray, that we have been worked to recruit international students in IIM Student Union, and we have even put effort and commitment to build a close relationship with every country-based societies. If I'm not mistaken, just an update I received from our international office. Previously, we have the idea to integrate and to involve our international students as much as we can. Howsoever, there are still loopholes and barriers. But Alhamdulillah, since the establishment of this Office of International Office, led by Brother Mahaman and also led by Brother Hashim, every country-based societies, previously some of the country they don't have their representative, and currently we are gathering them and we are communicating more with them. And rest assured, I believe now we have gathered more than 38 country-based societies, in which one of the steps that we took to ensure every single group of community is being represented. And next. All right. So what we are going to have in our plan is the plan A is to reserve seat for an international student in IIUM Student Union after obtaining ROS approval. Just a clarification here. Prior to this parliament, or prior to this tenure, the first draft of IIUM Student Union Constitution, actually we do include international seat to be filled by our international student, as to have a platform. Testing. Can you hear me?
Yes, Brother.
Okay. I think your earphone is broken, so please help Brother Rahman here. Okay, thank you. Where am I? Previously, during our before this tenure, the first draft of the constitution, we did have international seat in the draft, but during our proposal to the ROS, Registrar of Societies, when we meet them, there are several discussions, and during that point of time, there are complications to ensure that draft being approved. The ROS they didn't agree with that with the reserve seat due to complication of procedure. So howsoever, during our tenureship, we didn't have that. We spent some time and some commitment to look for that provision of the specific procedure, or whether there is any specific provision in any document provided by ROS stating that the reserve seat is not feasible, is not allowed in any society under ROS. However, we don't find any, and then I believe the commitment also we went to ROS straight away to have a discussion with them, and Alhamdulillah, during the meeting, I believe a different update we have received, in which the officer have stated that it is feasible to have a reserve seat, and we are invited to have a further meeting with them on how to make it happen. So that is just an update. I think we are in the wrong slide. Please move to the next slide. So that is plan A, to reserve the seat for international student.
I'm sorry, Honorable Brother Darwish. But your time is actually out, so I request for you to summarize your presentation in 1 minute, if you please.
Okay, I can do that, but can we move the slide to the next slide? All right, so that is our first plan, but with a condition, once and only if we obtain ROS approval to do that. However, if we don't obtain ROS approval in nearest future, perhaps we need to go to plan B, which is Office of International Affairs will be made as a general seat where everyone can contest for it, and there must be an appointed international student officer as deputy head. I think if there is any clarification for this, I would like to. I'm happy to answer that during debate. Thank you. That will be it, inshallah.
All right, thank you so much, Brother Darwish from IMSU. So we move on to the debate on the fourth motion. As a reminder, you can state your concern or any suggestions or amendments regarding the motion. And please type in your name, the society you're representing in the chat box, and we'll follow the order accordingly. So the debate starts now. Honorable Archimic President, you may speak. Once again, Honorable Archimic President, you may speak now.
Can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. So I have few questions. My first question: have IIUMSU have discussed back with our ROS on this reserve seat? Reserve seat matters. As the previous IMSU, I believe the president had already explained that ROS did not allow any reserve seat in student union and other society under ROS, unless ROS has already changed their rules. And is it still possible to reserve the seats later on? Secondly, if we are to acknowledge the reserve seat, there will be more group like DSU or PJSS will claim for reserve seat as well. So how exactly that IMSU will address this issue in the future when the reserve seat for international is being endorsed and implemented in IMSU? My third question is, what is the function of the uniting and also unionizing the student under IMSU when we are still playing the reserve card the same as we are reserving the card in SRC era like before? And lastly, if saying to reserve the rights, won't the other group have their own right as well to be reserved in IMSU seats? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Archimic, for your concern and questions. Brother Darwish, I hope you take that down. So I will proceed with representative from Sciences. Brother Shakir, you may speak your concern.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good afternoon to everyone. And thank you, our deputy speaker, honorable deputy speaker. So I would like to give a suggestion regarding the method of implementation. So if both of the method is not achievable in a short future, in the near future, so I would like to suggest that rather than appointed an international student as the executive member, why not put a quota of international student in each of every office of IM Student Union. Like I said, this is my suggestion. If both of the two suggested implementation are not achievable in near future, so it is a good introduction for the local student to work together with the international student also, because I'm afraid that maybe some of the local student did not agree to have a specific seat for the international student to be in the IM Student Union. So rather than that, if the both options are not achievable, I believe that it is a great introduction for IM international student and local student to work together by put a quota in each office, not only in welfare or international office, but every office in student union, to have an international student representative. But I do understand the need of an international student to be one of the executive members, because I believe that somehow in working with student union, the executive members are quite not secretive but conserved. So most of the discussion happen within maybe major discussion happen within the executive members only. So I do understand the needs of the student, international student, to be in part of that main group. But again, this is I believe that this process will take a long time, especially if we want to go on with the first suggested motion. So that's why I would like to suggest to have a quota of international student in each of IIM Student Union office. That's all. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Honorable Sciences Representative Brother Shakir. So we proceed with Honorable IRKHSSS. You may speak now.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Let me start off with my appreciation to IUM Student Union and also the International Affairs Office for bringing this motion. I believe we need to look at the current context. Before, maybe another reason why, other than ROS rejected the motion of having an international seat, would be that we were in a physical mode of classes and we mingled around with our international friends. But looking at the context today, for example, if you just enter the university in 191 or 201 or 211, you won't be able to meet with your international friends physically. And some of your friends, international friends, are still outside of Malaysia. Hence, I believe we need to truly show and truly appreciate diversity in our university by by having an election by putting the seat for international in IUMSU. I used to reject this motion to put international seat before, but now I truly appreciate it due to the current context. And my question would be for Brother Honorable President. Would be number one is, what were the reason that the Plan A was rejected by ROS, and number two is, if we were to proceed with the general seat for international, would it means that we will be having a seat just like Deputy President 1 to 3, so international seat 1 for Gombak, 2 for Kuantan, and 3 for Pago. And then my another suggestions would be that we must elect this international representative for IMSU through election. We cannot have an appointment. It must be through an election. And I truly hope that this motion will be endorsed by the Member of Parliament to appreciate our diversity in our university, to uphold the ethos and the spirit of integration and internationalization of IUM. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable IRKHSSS Brother Anas, for your comment, question, and suggestion, I believe. Right, so I would like to invite Brother Darwish, Honorable IMSU, to answer the questions. Please welcome.
Much obliged, Madam Deputy. Thank you so much for that opportunity. And respected academic sciences and KIRKHSSS for the concern and also for the questions. Perhaps may I know how many minutes I have for these three questions?
I think we can allocate it until 12:55.
12:55. Okay, thank you so much. I will respond first on Honorable Akim's question. Firstly, if it is feasible to have reserved seat, how about the other concerned minority group that we have within our campus? First of all, we do acknowledge this. We have, just like what I said, in my earlier presentation, during presenting this motion, we never deny that there are a lot more concerning groups that we have within our campus. Among other, we have discussed about this in our weekly meeting and central meeting. About among others is the representative from academic related group, which is CELPAT and PGSS. For other example as well, we do have disabled students who need the bridge to give consent to the administration, and I believe in union governance as well. So we never deny that we are still discussing about it, and we are still finding, we are still in the process of fact finding on how we do about that. But what we want to focus about this is because the commitment and the the data that we have about on how to move about this international student is sufficient enough, and we can't afford to wait until we are fully ready and then we discuss. So we take this opportunity of this parliament to talk about this international students group first. And second, what is the function of a union to do the unity, this regardless of whatever group we have within our campus? I would respect and I would agree with that kind of concern. Thank you so much, Honorable Arkimi. That will be our main agenda as well. If you remember during my question answer during I answered the question from Brother Rahman Bakil in our earlier session, that is our commitment. Even though we don't have this motion approved previously, but that is our mission in during this tenureship, to ensure that we secure as much as possible the integration between students in campus. Integration means wide. Please interpret and define integration as well as we can. But talking about integration between local and international students, I believe it's not only about student, but it's the whole community of internationalization in campus. We have also international lecturers. We also have international staff and community. So from what I can see, by way of appointing, this is kind of platform. For example, we do have currently advisor among international lecturer. We do appoint Prof Maan, Deputy Dean of Engineering, Kuliah of Engineering, to advise us on how we do this thing. And we have consulted him about this matter. And I believe the platform is merely not to focus on we want to put the groundwork, and we it's not like we want to put the responsibility to do the integration commitment into IO, but we need to have a platform to make a balancing during this balancing period. You know, when we talk about this, I think a good example is like when we had Pelan Ekonomi Baru, for example, when we want to balance Chinese and Malay and Indian in terms of household income and our financial income in average. So we must have that kind of approach, and must have that kind of any kind of plan. And this is what we have within our data finding, with the discussion among international students themselves. And I think that will be it for Kimi. And secondly, question from I think question from Honorable Science says, if both plan A and plan B are not reachable or achievable, what will we do from that? And I would like to appreciate and express our gratitude to Honorable Sciences for also pointing out and expressing his support in terms of this idea, that this the representation of international students are very in need. I believe he himself involved in the operation of student union, and I can't deny within my position as president of IIUM student union, I believe the barrier between integration are still far from what we can say as reasonable. We must do something about the balancing, and that's why we come up with this kind of motion. But to answer your question is, if this plan A and plan B is not reachable, actually perhaps the technical team can go to plan B, in which I didn't explain in details earlier. Basically, what we propose is to propose for every tenure to at least have the Office of International Affairs. Whoever fill the position, they should bring the spirit of and have the commitment to ensure the integration is being part of the union's coordination and operation. At least for these 5 or 10 years, the commitment should be more than just comfortable commitment. We need more than that. So a very specific plan and manpower is very much needed. So if among the local cannot fill that position, the student union can use their power as in administrative power to appointed officer among students, by any means that might seem reasonable to be the representative in IIUM Student Union. So that will be, I think the motion itself also quite general in nature to involve IIUM Student Union, IIUM international student in IMSU lined up, and that is also being the idea, because we don't want to make it very specific plan, but we want to open to any alternative and plan as long as we can reach that objective. And I believe within the administrative power we have within our organization, just like what we did, we can appoint appointed officer, and we can delegate it as how we can see it reasonable. Our tenure might be different, which what with the situation next tenure might have and in need. So that will be conclusion from me. And about the suggestion to put quota at any office, actually this tenure we don't put quota, but we encourage for the participation. For example, in any cases, like usually like vaccination operation, we do set in the meeting at least open quota for international students to be the participant or to be the committee members of the operation. And then, for example, again, in the in one of conference that we are going to have during December, some of you might have known about it. There, IIUM seek for representation among leaders from IIUM Student Union to become the main organizer of that thing. And what among the thing that we portray is we can go for it with the condition we need quota from international students. And then I think that is showing our commitment. And that quota, I believe it is on our administrative power and authority. Any tenure can put the quota, but as long as you have that spirit, any kind of alternative or suggestion or plan is, I think, if it's reasonable, go for it to the fullest. And last but not least, to Honorable KIRKHSS, thank you for pointing out your concern, and I do agree with you. I concur that different nature and different touch is needed in different situation. And for the first question is why Plan A is being rejected previously. Actually, I have limited capacity because I'm not in the meeting. So that is the first disclaimer. I'm not in the meeting where the draft is being rejected. However, on behalf of my previous comrade of IIMSU caretaker, from what I understand is that because to have a reserve seat, you need quite complicated process. For example, the student need to submit document to not only ROS but to the PDRM, to the immigration and whatnot. So if that kind of complicated situation is to happen during the election period, it might seem quite hard. But I don't think that is a valid, that is a solid reason. And I'm not disagreeing with ROS during that time, but I'm not disagreeing with this motion as well, since what happened in our university, the problems we always experience in our university, usually the root cause is not about the system, the root cause is not about the procedure. The root cause always goes back to the agency. You want to improve the toilet, you can do it. Just do it. If you are in agency to improve the toilet, you can do it. And for example, if you want to visa unit problem, for example, if you want to settle, you need to first have that agency to settle the problem, and then you can pay a very good commitment to settle that thing. And in this submission of motion, I believe at least we want to portray that we have the commitment to be part of the agency. And after that, any problems that might occur during any time, at least we have the sense of belonging to move and to analyze the problem and move from there. And I believe when we talk about the union, it's not only about how executive members can decide on how to solve problem, we always can be as humble as we can. We seek for suggestion, we seek for cooperation by every members of the union on how we can move from there. And I believe when the problem is there, we are very happy to include everyone on how we should move forward. And the second question from KIRKHSSS, if the reserve seat, if the reserve seat is, where? Oh, if the reserve seat is being made into action and implemented, how it's going to be? To be honest, in details, we are yet to have the details of structure, whether we will make it as a general seat for each campus, or we should make it as general seat for any specific locality that will govern, or we make it as a central position that govern all locality, as how my position currently is. But we are still in the period of finding about this, and if there is any suggestion, we are very happy to receive. And I believe during the discussion and during the changing of structure, this is only a pre-submission of idea, because any changing of structure we should discuss back in either in AGM or in next parliament sitting. So during that time, I believe we can have a clear picture about that, and I think that will be it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Honorable Mr. President, Brother Darwish. So I believe we have two more concerns from Honorable Deputy President 1, Sister Ana Sofia, and Sciences Representative Brother Shakir. So if you will, please make it very short and precise, 1 minute each, so that we can end the debate session fast. Thank you. Sister Ana Sofia, you may proceed.
All right, thank you so much, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Yes. Okay, so thank you so much to everyone. 1 minute, Bismillah. First, I would love to start this by concurring what IIUM Student Union President Darwish had been mentioning. He mentioned all the detailed point, and also to wrap it up as a sense of urgency to solve the real needs of students. Okay, I would love to say in only one context, representations. The root cause for a need of representations in IIM student unions goes back to why we need the representations, and in the context of any minority groups in IIM, which can be categorized as many, in example, international, postgraduate, disabled, etc., is that they have not just problems, but unique problems that is differentiated than the bigger demographic of the local students. So when there are unique problems, I believe that all the minority groups shouldn't be given equal representation, but they should be given a special representations or a special treatment. Equals means something that is similar. Special means something that you need when you cannot afford it. If we're going to talk in the context of equal representation, history have proven the failure of equal representation of minority groups in the context of students' leadership, because if we were about to put a contest or elections in between locals and some minority groups, perhaps international or perhaps disabled or perhaps postgraduate students, then it will be proven and had been proven in history that the locals would win. So we can give some example of Ana Sofia Rizwan contesting against Muhibullah Muhib. We can give some example of Ainuha contesting against Fajr Shafalullah, Ibrahim Adel Ali against Darwis, and also Brother Rahman is lucky because he won uncontested. So in this context, we need this special treatment and special representation to be reserved. And I'm student union. So shall there be anything that happens in the future, all this minority group, their special needs can be focused on and can be catered. So I agree with Honorable Arkimi and also others that mentioned that there are many minority groups, and it is very important to address this group. You will start first with making it an urgent matter for international as a minority group to be prioritized in this. So that is all, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Miss Deputy Deputy President Wan, Sister Anna Sophia. So we proceed with Honorable Sciences Representative, Brother Shakir. Please keep it short and precise in 1 minute. You may proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good afternoon. So I would like to request a clarification regarding the disintegration of the Office of Welfare and Internationalization. So I would like to request further clarification. Why did the office have been combined at first place if it is decided to disintegrate it in the future? Is there any major problem, issues, maybe lack of manpower or lack of influence or support that the disintegration is needed? Thank you. That's all from me.
Thank you, Honorable Sciences, Brother Shakir. Honorable Mr. President, you may proceed with your answer.
Thank you, Madam Deputy. Respected Sciences, for the question. I believe, again, a disclaimer, I might not have the full capacity to share with you the exact problem that we might currently experience previously, because the situation that happening during that time might be very detailed and very much we can discuss as much as we can, but the real situation we never know. But from what I can see is that previously we uphold the spirit of integration. We still have the same spirit. However, during that time we believe that the delegation, administrative wise and delegation wise, we believe that international office and welfare office can be worked in one office during that time. And having said that, that is the idea of how they do their work during that time, the administrative concept, what I mean here. And I believe during that time as well, we do have a specific strategies to cater to play the concept of to take care of welfare of students, means to play on the integration as well. I'm not sure in details. That's why I say I have limited capacity. But if the problem, the only problem that we can share, or maybe per my personal view, is that first of all, during that time they have established this one Council of Nation. Council of Nation is a council whereby we want to assemble voices from student country-based societies, and at least we have the connection between IIUM Student Union Administration and our international friends. So during that time, that is the plan. Howsoever, I believe perhaps not every plan that being improved, being changed is happening due to specific problem. Perhaps we are still in the process of trying and error. If I can answer for this session, I'm not sure if this is the real situation or not. But when I asked my colleague in welfare office, because previously Council of Nation is under the welfare office since it's combined welfare and international. So when I asked about the update about Council of Nation, welfare office, we do seek for clarification from the previous tenureship, and we got the idea. Howsoever, on ground, when we check with the students, we can plan as a beautiful plan as we can, but we need to check the reality of what happening on ground. When we check it with the students, they don't see the efficiency of Council of Nation has been met. I'm not saying that the plan is not good, but there might be something happen. So when we discuss with them, they suggest for an alternative, and that is where we are coming from the suggestion of the international friend to improve the Council of Nation by way of having them represented in the main platform straight away, not to have only IMSU as a bridge for integration. Talking about integration, we can never have a bridge to integrate from someone to someone. They need to come and break the ice on their own. So that is what we are trying to do. And I'm not saying that this plan is the best plan that we can ever establish, but let us move on from here. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Honorable Mr. President, Brother Darwish. And thank you for everyone for voicing your concerns, suggestion, and questions. All right, so we have reached the end of the debate for the fourth motion. Next, we will have a short break, a 2-minute break before the voting session.
إلهي لست للفردوس أعلى والنار الجحيم فهب لي توبة واغفر ذنوبي فإنك غافر الذنب العظيم Allah, aku tak layak untuk ke syurgamu, namun tak upaya menghadapi nerakamu. Terima taubatku, ampunkan dosaku, kerana sesungguhnya Engkaulah Maha Pengampun dosa-dosa besar. Ilahi lastu lil firdausi.
All right, so we will proceed with the voting on the fourth motion. As a reminder, only fixed members of the parliament members are required to vote. Observers cannot. So you can cast your votes in the poll provided. Thank you. All right, so the results of the voting for the fourth motion, which is the involvement of international students representative in IIUM Student Union lineup, is accepted with 30 people accepting, 6 people rejecting, and 5 people abstaining. Right, so we move on to our last motion of the day. We'll proceed with our last motion of the day, which is the endorsement of CBS Council and inclusion to be fixed member in IIUM Central Parliament, IIUM Student Union Central Parliament. So I would like to invite Brother Abdul Rahman Bakil or his representative to present this motion. Please welcome.
Salam. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and all the other members. Okay, with so talking about of the city council and inclusion to be members and uh, I will make it short, and, sweet, and precise, inshallah. So the thing is the CBS first. This is a country-based society where all the trees they have representative, they have their own main committee, and they having their own issues, just to understand the basics first. If you're coming from Africa, totally different that you are coming from Asia. It's totally different that you are coming from Europe. It's totally different that you are coming from America. So that's totally different. So everyone should understand the basic of the CB first. Then we discussed the idea of using the
Sorry,
council of.
Brother Rahman.
Sorry.
Sorry, but your
Okay.
voice is unclear. Do you have any person beside you that you can borrow any device with? If not, then we'll just proceed.
I will open. Okay. Now it's okay.
No,
Now
it's still
it's okay?
lagging.
Okay. Okay. Do you hear me?
Yes, much clearer now. Can proceed.
Okay, so as I said just now, when we are talking about the CPS, we are talking about different people coming from different countries, coming from different continents. So they have their own problems or whatever they are facing. So this is before, just as an introduction to talk, before we talk about the endorsement of CPS or council or to be a fixed members in the central parliament. So next. So introduction include representative of CBS as a fixed member uh, the, in the central parliament and locality. So this is what we propose and why we are proposing the CPS to be in the fixed members of the parliament because of the following and the ground consideration. So let's next slide. So the ground of consideration, international presence is important in the ISPAC because if you can see just now, if you see all the members, if I would say I am maybe the only international or maybe there are two international, maybe the BGSS also an international representative. So if you see how many we have around 66 people here and we are having only one or two representatives. So if we want to have more internationalization and we are talking about the integration and just the previous motion, it was accepted that we should have involvement in the IIUM Student Union line up to have that kind of internationalization. So it should be a logic also to include them in the parliament where they can have their representation and voicing their concerns. So the CPS representative understand the concern and bring up alerting issues their students face during the study life in IIM. As I just said in the introduction, different people they have different concerns. And when we are talking about international, it doesn't mean one nationality. You know, the international means we have around 80 nationality in our university, but some people when we kept saying international local, so all the people will think that we are talking about one entity, only one nationality. International students, they have one nationality, they have the same concern. And even in the Office of International Affairs in our office in the Student Union, we are having a close communication with the CPS because they have different issues. And even the Office of International has to follow up with all these countries because when we are talking about Guinea, for example, I would give an example. They cannot renew their passport inside by the embassy here in Malaysia. They have to go back to their country. So these kind of issues we have to bring it to the management to give other consideration, especially at the time of the MCO last time, and also regarding the home quarantine issues. If they want to come back to Malaysia, they have to go through quarantine cost and where the university should take action for those people. And at the last thing, which is serve as a liaison between the international students. So, but simply, if we have the CPS in our parliament, easily for us to communicate and easily they can bring their own concern. Next. So, essential party in ISPAC as the representatives speak on behalf of their huge international community. If you know, guys, that we have around 5,000 international students in our university, where all of them, as I said, from different countries. And as an alternative for the inefficiency of the Council of Nations, when we have communicated with our previous seniorship, as our just president said, and also our office of welfare, we have tried to communicate with our previous seniorship, but we didn't get a clear clarification on the Council of Nations and what is the efficiency of it. And that's why we need to have a CBS council and also to include them in the parliament. And the KBS, CBS, and others in the parliament are represented by local individuals. Thus, the existence of the CBS is important to convey the concern of the international. I believe it's already clear that just they need the representation in the parliament. Next. So IIM Sweden has approach and connected to every CBS and connected to every CBS. So what do we mean here is like as we have communication closely with the MRCC or the KBSC, we would like also to have the close communication with the CBS and in the future CBSC. So and that time also they're gonna be represented in the parliament too. Encouraged a CBS to be heavily involved in many projects. If I would mention just that in the slide, the home quarantine issues and the COVID issues also, we need different people to treat others. I would give an example here. If you know in the MCO that we have many cases in our campus. So at that time, we need people from that specific country to communicate with that person to obey with the rules, or let's say to give him whatever he needs, how he will feel more comfortable to talk with his own people. And that's where we need the people from different countries to be present. And yeah, next. So CBS acts as a connecting bridge between IMSU and the students of the respective countries to forward their details and concern and opinions, equal representation compared to other parties. For example, the MRC and KBS representative participating in the parliament. So again, I believe I am, because we are having this motion and it's very straightforward. Just we need the CBS to be in the parliament because we have the MRC, because we have the KBS. Let's have the CBS. Next. Next is thank you all, and I hope you consider what we have presented. And if you have any opinion or suggestions, please share it, and we are more than happy to hear from you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Brother Rahman. So I open for the debate of the last motion for 20 minutes. Anyone who wishes to speak may write your society, what you are representing, and your name. I believe Honorable Academic President Sister Adriana has something to say. You may proceed.
Yes, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you thank you Brother Rahman for bringing up this motion. I have a question. As mentioned by the previous lineup, I believe during the past parliament and also just now Brother Dawish also mentioned the Council of Nations that was established during the past tenure. So, and I believe that everyone is aware. And if you guys are forming a council, CBSC, Country-Based Society Council, wouldn't it be redundant with the current Council of Nations composition? Because it seems like to be the same. And also, if you guys see that the Council of Nations is Council of Nations is inefficient, wouldn't why you guys don't improve the council of nation that you guys have to plan in between your in between the student union. And also another one, I would see that having each CBS in the parliament sitting later on would be a problem for us to meet the quorum for our parliament to start. So if later on like we have so many representatives at one particular time, it will cause our we couldn't meet our quorum for this parliament sitting to start. That's all.
Thank you, Honorable Archimate Sister Adriana. Honorable IRKHSS, Brother Anas, you can proceed.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Thank you very much, IMSU International Affairs Officer, for the motion and the presentation. I think as stated by Sister Adriana, having, I would say, two components with the same members would be redundant. But then I am okay if moving forward, IMSU would be focusing on this council, which is Country-Based Society Council, as a coordination body for our country-based societies from all international representative from IIUM. I think in terms of endorsement, by looking at the motion, there are two parts of it. Endorsement of CBS Council, and another one is the inclusion to be fixed member of the IIUM Central Parliament, and also the local parliament of Gombak Pagu and Sukuantan. I think my worry would be that it may seem unfair for other ordinary members which are not included in the central parliament today. For example, we have a lot of ordinary members from the STAT, Censor, and also SBC, which are not a member of the IIM Central Parliament. So if we do endorse this motion today, which to include all of the members of the CBS Council later to be included in this um, parliament, I think it would not be fair for the other society which are not given chance in the parliament, unless if we want to relook and redefine again the role and the power of our ordinary members, which may be included as well in IUM Central Parliament. I think that would be my concern. In terms of the endorsement, I don't think it is a big problem, but in terms of the inclusion, as it is a one motion, in terms of the inclusion, it may seem unfair for the rest of the ordinary members. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable RKHSS Brother Anas Hayan. I invite Brother Rahman to give your reply.
Okay. Thank you, Honorable Abdul, for these two questions, and it's very crucial. The first one is about the Council of Nations. As we have said, there is an efficient work with the Council of Nations, and it was not clear to us how they are working on ground exactly. But if you are talking about the function of the Council of the CPS Council is going to be, it will be the same. It will be the same as the Council of Nations. Only we are going to rename it and we are going to revive it because we have a close communication with the CPS, and it's clear that that they are active right now because we are also having a lot of programs and having a lot of projects that we are working closely with them. It's just as Honorable IRKHSSS, he said, is a coordination for the council. So this is how we are going to work. It's only coordination for the CPS, and that's what we meant for. For the forum, we are not going to include every CPS because the CPS it will be too much for the parliament, and surely we are not going to meet the quorum. So this is the concern also. Before we came, we have this concern. So that's why we said, what if we are going to have that CPS representative as a limited number too? Like if, for example, if I would suggest 4 members only to be represented from the CPS, so at least we don't have 80 representatives from the countries, and easily for us to meet the quorum too, and to solve these two issues. And for the last, this is I believe for the Honorable Archimate questions. And for the brother Anas, I would ask you regarding the central. It's not fair for the other ordinary members. As I said, brother Anas, is the thing is we are talking with different people right now. We are not talking with the same people who are coming from the same locality. If that's the case, then we are going to bring all the clubs of the university to be in the central parliament. But here, because we are talking about different people from different countries, and as well as I said just now, we are going to include 4 people only in the parliament, where we will have limited number, and they will be representing the whole CBS, which is more than 80 different countries. And the CBS with association, they are around 38, as our president said. So I believe this is answering your questions and meeting your concerns. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Honorable Brother Rahman. I believe Honorable Sciences Representative Brother Shakir has something to say. You may proceed.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good afternoon to everyone. Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. So I have a question and a concern. The question is very simple. Is CBS exists in Pago and Kuantan campus? And if it does, so I'm sorry because I'm not aware of it. And if it don't, then it raises a concern that it is not represent the whole as in the whole category of our student union, because I see that maybe this motion is more relatable to Gombak campuses. How about Pago and Kuantan campuses? I'm afraid that they're not gonna have much support from Kuantan and Pago campus in the CBS in this motion, because there isn't, the CBS is not in the campus itself. And if I'm wrong, please correct me, and please provide some clarification lah if I'm wrong, because I did not aware if there exists the CBS in Kuantan and Pago campus. So I think that this motion is somehow not relatable lah for Kuantan and Pago. Though I'm not an international student, but I recently heard regarding this CBS in at least in Kuantan niche. So I'm afraid that it is not represent fully of what the desire or the need of this motion to be upheld. So maybe would like more clarification regarding this, the existence of CBS in Pago and Kuantan campus. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Honorable Sciences Representative. So now I invite Honorable MRC Siddiq to raise your concern.
Yes, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for the opportunities. So my concern is on the effectiveness of the inclusion of CBSC in IIUM Student Parliament Central. So from the previous motion that has been endorsed, that more international students will be in the IMSU lineup, and also we have IMSU International Office, and now we have CBSC, all 38 seats, right? So, and how can it be effective when I think that I think the way is this international office and also this international lineup in IMSU should bring the concern from the CBSC. So that's how it works, I think, because if we include small, just like Honorable Akrimik said before, that it will be hard for us to achieve, to meet the quorum, and also and how it was like the flow of bringing the motion and so on. So I think to for the sake of the union, I think maybe we can suggest that enough for international office and also IMSU international lineup from IMSU to bring the concern from the international students. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Honorable Mahala Siddiq, for that concern. I think I'll give way to Brother Rahman first to answer both questions, and then I'll give the floor to Honorable KLMSS. All right, Brother Rahman, you can proceed.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. So, answering the first question, it's very actually predictable question, because when we are mentioning the CBS, as an introduction in the beginning, I said it's based on nationality. When we are talking about nationality, it means already central. If there are, I give an example, okay, and also the people from Quantan, they can clarify on this, because let's say there are 4 or 10 people from Pakistan, they are studying medical science in Quantan. And we have already the CBS of Pakistan in Gombak. Because it's based on the nationality, they will also be represented in their CBS in Gombak or in Quantan. It's only one CBS. We don't need to open another Quantan or it's in Gombak. It's one CBS. They have their own people. They are having their own WhatsApp group. So it's already central one because it's based on nationality. So this is just to clarify with sciences and especially about Quantan. Because we are having, as IIUM Student Union, we are having a close communication too with the Welfare and International Office in Quantan. And maybe if Brother Anas here from Quantan International Office and Welfare, maybe he can also inform us how we are communicating with the international students there. Okay, so this is just for the sciences, I believe. For the second question, Honorable MRC Mahalla Siddiq, regarding no efficiency in the work, because we will have a lot of people from international and IIM issue and also in the parliament, so no need for that one. Okay, I will give an example too. Now we have an office of education, we have an office of welfare, and we have many offices in our student union, but we still have the MRC and we still have the KPS. Why? Because we need to do the check and balance. Because because of the student union, if they are not functioning well, let's say the election in the next year, we are having an international representative, but he's not doing well for the international. Who's gonna ask him? You are not doing well. No one, because there is no CBS and there is no coordination and they are not representing in the parliament. As simple as this. So that's how I want you to understand that we have just a few days, we have a meeting with the MRCC and they are telling us clearly that we have to work together and there are things that is not being done by the student union and so on and so forth. So this is how we want to work. We need the CBS to come to the upcoming international representative and telling him, you are not doing your job properly. Come and do it in the proper way. And this is how they previously have been working. And this is how we want to do this check and balance. I believe this is answering your question, brother. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Honorable Brother Rahman. So, Honorable KLMSS, if you wish to respond, you may do so.
I think someone answered the question of CBS in Pago. Yes, we do not have CBS, but I think Rahman addressed the question already. So, yeah, that's all from me.
All right, thank you. Yes, Honorable RKH SSS, you may speak.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker. As mentioned by Brother Rahman last time on the representative by CBS later, it won't include all of the country-based society representative, but it will just be representative from the CBS Council. All right. Hence, I would like to ask in terms of the standing orders that I think it will have to be amended, right? In terms of the fixed members. And do we specify the number of representatives now? Because we have specified the number of representatives for PJSS 1, Ibn Maktoum 1. So do we specify the number of seat for CBS now? Because I think the number of seat is also crucial in terms of, because for me, the number stated by Brother Rahman was 4. For me, I think it could be 1 as well, just to have the chairman or the chairperson of the CBS council later, just as Rahman mentioned, to be the check and balance for the country-based society representing the international students. Because we put trust in the CBS council, and if you do not put trust in the chairman or the chairperson later, then and to want to include a lot of representatives from the council itself, so it will disrupt, I think, the notion of unity and unionism itself. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Honorable RKHSSS. Honorable Betsa, you may proceed with your concern.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Thank you also to the Honorable IMSU, Brother Rahman, as the representative from International Office IMSU. I just have some concerns from me to just to support the idea that I am quite reluctant to endorse this motion because first, representative from CBSC, our country-based society, is I think maybe their concerns should be addressed to international office because international office this is if you want to put the specific office for them to raise their concerns. That's why because I think it is maybe better for them to address the questions to international office first. If they have any concerns, then they will and then the MSU for international office would bring it to the Parliament Central. Second, because I think everyone have not everyone. Some people have same opinions, and I have the same views. If we include CBSC, then we have to include other societies as well. So I think those 2 points, I can say that it might be enough for me to tell this parliament session. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Honorable Betsa. I think I'll give way for Honorable RKHSSS for his suggestion first, and then Brother Rahman can conclude the concerns from Brother Anas and Sister Arifah, and also whether you want to proceed with the amendment suggested by Brother Anas. Is that all right?
Thank you, Honorable
No, I'll pass the floor to Brother Anas first.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker. The motion that is tabled right now is endorsement of country-based society council and inclusion to be fixed members in IUM Student Parliament. I would like to suggest that it is a long debated topic to include the members of the Kuliah Based Society Council. What if we endorse the council first? We endorse the council first today, and we see the formulation or the establishment of the country-based society council first, because I believe that we have so many country-based society, and we should empower country-based society council first, and then we may include them in the parliament as a quorum, because I believe we need to strengthen the country-based society council and shows its effectiveness, and then we may think about it. That would be my suggestion.
All right. I would like to ask the members of the parliament if you want to extend this debate, because there are a few people who wishes to speak their concerns in the chat box. So I would like to ask if everyone is okay with that, with us extending the debate. You can type in the chat box. All right, so I take it as everyone agrees to extend. So I guess I'll give the floor to Brother Rahman first to answer from Brother Anas.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker, and also Honorable RKHSSS for this suggestion. And for this time, if I would suggest also to consider revising the fixed members of the Central Parliament instead of our motion. So then we can have a bigger picture, and we can include anyone who are not yet in the fixed parliament.
Sorry, Brother Rahman.
I would like to suggest to amend the motion to revise the fixed members of the Central Parliament.
I see. Okay, let's do this. We'll hear the concerns from everyone first, and you can type in your amendment for your motion in the chat box. and then our commission will make a poll based on your amendment. Is that okay?
Okay.
All right. So I think representative from sciences wishes to speak. You may proceed to do so.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good afternoon to everyone. Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. So I have a question. Is there any is there any proof or any data that the CBC members itself want to be in the parliament itself? Because as Brother Rahman has explained regarding my previous question, that CBC does not need to be in each campus because it's representative based on country. So, but in Kuantan, as the number of international students is not as much as in Gombak, so it may the international student may refer to the IUMSU rather than the CBC if there are any problem regarding the country base. So that's why I would like to know if there are any like survey or data or statistics regarding what the CBSC itself want, or it is what IMSU International and Welfare Office want. So maybe next time you can provide some data to show that this is what the CBSC want, not from just one person only, because it is as a student in Kuantan campus, I believe it may lead to some confusion lah. For the international student, it's either they want to go through CBSC or you want to go to IM Student Union International Welfare Office. And you did mention that both of the organization did work closely together, and that's bring out the same question again about the redundancy. So is it really need the CBC to be in the parliament? Because again, you clearly stated that both of the parties work very closely together, and you did mention that one of the importance of the CBC to be in the parliament is for the check and balance. And as both of parties have a lot of discussion and close together, so I believe that yes, the redundancy problem will keep on happening, especially in Kuantan campus, as the number of international students is not as much as Gombak. So they may prefer to go to the International and Welfare Office of RMSU rather than to direct contact to CBS of their own country. So I guess that's all from me. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Honorable Sciences Representative. So I invite Honorable Deputy President Wan to speak your concern.
Pardon. All right. So am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. So I think, inshallah, right now, 1 or 2 minutes won't be long. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, in regards to these motions, I wanted to give my point of view based on the current motion, that is the involvement of CBS in aspects members. But then, since we have suggestion on amended, I would love to give my point of view on both straightly. Okay, now I would love to address to the member of parliament that the bigger picture, okay, why this motion is being submitted and being presented is because we have the idea to be discussed on who should be the fixed member of Central Parliament. Okay. So that is the questions, because many people raise this question, Honorable Akimi, Honorable Ayake, which is valid and significant, that why do we only involve the mentioned SU officers and KBSC and MRCC, Ibn Maktoum, and only PGSS? So why only this 5 or 6, correct me if I'm wrong, Parliament commissions? So why only these people on Central when there are many important issues or motions that needs agreement by everyone on central. I give an example. If IIM Student Union were about to come up with a motion, okay, or any club were about to come up with a motion, the IIM Student Unions should reconstruct the whole organizations, that they should be, example, make all seats as general, no kuliah. But then again, we have the question in our mind that all these clubs, all the CBS, etc., they didn't have the chance to be involved. So that is why international office raised the concern of why do the fixed members, okay, are as such, and it should be reconsidered. But again, international office decided to submit the motions in the notion of representing international, hence why you see the motion is about inserting country-based society as the fixed member. But we can also talk about the amended one, which had been mentioned, that is to consider who is the fixed member of the Central Parliament. So I would love to end this by saying on the current motion, before we go to the amended of the considering, in the idea of country-based society, let us look at data, statistic, and demographic. We have an average of 26,000 students in IIUM, comprising of 3 campuses, and we have an average of 20% of international students. 10 years ago it was 30%, now it's 20%, amounting to 5,200. Okay, now the one who attended today is averagely 60 people, as you can see in the participant minus parliament commissions. So 60 people. Among 60 people, if local is 20% and if local is 80%, international is 20%, then by right, we should be having 12 international students here, and also like what 60 minus 12, 58 local students, to say about fair representations. So you see the idea why country-based society actually is important to be the added point. Also, final thing, pardon me so much, Honorable Deputy Speaker, I agree also with, I concur with Honorable IRKHSS on his idea of reconsidering the number. Is it going to be 1 or 4 or 2? We don't know, but we do need an additional number of international students in the parliament, okay? Because this will be my final word. As much as there exists, okay, atmosphere of politics in campus, international also have geopolitics. It means that all international could not be represented by one person, but they could be represented by continents per se. So hence why I would conclude with, we can consider perhaps 1 or 2 to be added as the fixed member of Central Parliament. So that is all from Honorable Deputy Speaker.
Thank you so much, Honorable Deputy President 1, Sister Ana Sofia. So I believe this is the last concern from the Parliament members, which is Honorable Archimic President, Sister Adriana. You may proceed.
Am I audible? Yes. Okay. So, Brother Rahman, I believe just now when you answer my question, you mentioned that this motion is only to rename the Council of Nations to Country-Based Society Council, which I believe that it is better for you to sign a paperwork to the Presidential Office of IIM Student Union and to be approved in the to be approved by the office, and should not be in discussion with this one, because it is only on the rename of the Council of Nations into CBSC. And also my stand is actually I didn't agree for all CBS members to all CBS representative to be in the parliament, since it will affect our quorum, and also it will affect our parliament if our parliament session later on in the future. And may I ask which office that CBSC will be put under in charge in IMSU? And I believe when if CBSC or Council of Nations is under the International Office of IIUM Student Union, that the role of IIMSU International Office itself is to bring the CBS voices to the Parliament, as International Office currently stands alone as the office who represent the international students in IIUM.
All right, thank you, Honorable Archimate Sister Adriana. So I invite Brother Rahman to give your reply.
Okay, thank you so much, Honorable Deputy Speaker and also Honorable Archimate. So for the first one, which is talking about we have to consult with the Council of Nation. We have tried to reach the previous seniorship. We didn't get any reply. And this is for the Council of Nation first, because otherwise we are not going to do this if there is something exists already and there is something efficient is going on. So this is one. For the second question, which is under which office is going to be, for your information, CBS is under the university. CBS under the IIUM, Office of International Affairs. So it's same as the MRC, it's same as the KBS under the university, both of them under the university. So only will be the IIM Student Union again, which we are considered an NGO. So this is where we are talking that they will be on ground and also they will do the check and balance on the student. I believe I have to respond to your question.
I'm sorry, Brother Rahman, are you done with your reply speech?
Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, so that's the end of our debate for the fifth motion. We'll have a 2-minute break before our voting session. I would like to remind that our voting will consist of two parts, which is the first one is the amendment of the original motion, which is the review of membership of fixed members in Central Parliament. And if that that amendment is rejected, we will vote with the original motion. All right, is everything clear? I
Yeah.
hope everything is clear. All right, thank you.
Is it a new motion or an amendment?
We will proceed with the voting for the amendment first, and if everyone rejects it, we'll vote for the original amendment, original motion. All right, clear?
What is the amended motion, Madam Deputy?
To review the membership of fixed members in Central Parliament. It's written in the chat box.
I think that is not the amendment of the motion. I think that is bringing a new motion into this parliament session.
All right. I will get back to everyone. Let me discuss with my team first.
اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد صلاة تنجينا بها من جميع الأهوال والآفات وتقضي لنا بها جميع الحاجات وتطهرنا بها من جميع السيئات وترفعنا بها عندك أعلى الدرجات وتبلغنا بها أقصى الغايات من جميع الخيرات في الحياة وبعد الممات وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. Ya Allah rahmati penghulu kami, Nabi Muhammad dengan berkatnya menyelamatkan kami dan ditunaikan segala hajat, disucikan dari segala kejahatan, ditinggikan derajat di sisimu, diterima segala amal kebaikan di dunia dan akhirat. Dan rahmati keluarga dan para sahabatnya. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad salatan tunjina biha min jami'il ahwali wal afat wa taqdi lana biha jami'al hajat wa tutahhiruna biha min جميع السيئات وترفعنا بها عندك أعلى الدرجات وتبلغنا بها أقصى الغايات.
All right, so very sorry for the delay. So we've actually discussed between ourselves, and we will proceed with the original motion, which was, I forgot what it was, but we'll vote for it in the polling later. All right. So everyone, members of the parliament, can vote now. We'll have 5 minutes for the voting. All right, so the results are out. So the result of the fifth motion, which is the endorsement of CBS Council and inclusion to be member in IIUM Parliament Central, is rejected with 9 accepting, 20 and 5 abstain. So since there is a suggestion to amend the motion, I would like to advise to bring the amended motion to another central seating and with stronger basis in your proposal. Right. So we move on to our second last agenda of today, which is the Q&A session, the second part of the Q&A session. Right, so I would like to invite Sister Anna Sophia, Deputy President, to give a clarification on question number 5 earlier on today. If you please, welcome.
Thank you so much, guys. May I ask if the parliament could help share the screen? Am I audible?
Yes.
Will Parliament Commission have to share the screen?
We're working on it.
Thank you so much, Honorable Deputy Speaker.
I'm sorry, but can Honorable Mr. President, Brother Darwish, present the slides because we don't actually have the slides with us.
All right, sure.
Thank you.
I must apologize, Madam Deputy. Our secretary is working on it. We'll share it once ready.
All right, no worries.
All right. So thank you so much to our Honorable Secretary from IIUM. Now, the question that we got here is, how far is the progress in making sure that no one's left behind, especially in the context of minority community of IIM students who, this is interesting, are usually left behind, proven by history. Okay, so thank you so much, First Honorable IRK HSS, for this very, very, very important questions. Next slide, please. Okay, there is only one slide. I'm not going to take a lot of your time, but this one slide will present like the current status quo, okay, of how we are progressing towards ensuring that no one is left behind. So first, we got to define the word no one left behind. Who do we mean by the one usually left behind? We are focusing on 5 main segments and more coming. What does it mean by more coming? They are being left behind that we will take into account. Okay, so this is international postgraduate disabled individuals who lost election and issue-based situations. Let me start with international first. This is one of the mainstream agenda. As a normal student before, perhaps in first year where I participated in nothing related to societies and etc. I haven't think of these people as the one who are left behind, especially international, because I think like if I got the message, they would got the same message. If there's an open application, I could apply and they could apply as well. In class, we share the same language, English, etc. So why do we say that international sometimes are being left behind? Okay, so this is one. First, I want you to look at the word prioritization for welfare. For international point, yeah, the N one, prioritization for welfare. The example of how I ensure that international are actually not being left behind is that we give an example of an initiative. If an initiative happens per se food bank, okay, and when we post it at one specific time, okay, people of the message where the message would be spread would be during local students first. Also, if we got the food bank, then we would post on our status on the WhatsApp group, on social media, and then who are our circle of friends who can actually view that? It is mostly the domestic or the local students. So whenever we have any welfare initiative, what we try to do is, we don't want to say that for every welfare thing there is quota, but we prioritize them in a way that perhaps we expose them the info earlier than the locals would have get it, you see. So when we expose it earlier, they would have known when the info would have reached them, it would have been known at the same timing as how the locals would get via the ripple effect of message, posting a status and other people screenshotting it, etc. So that is first. Second, in regards to international, this is very important. Understanding international students goes beyond than just their food of shawarma or adani or etc. Even their clothes, etc. It goes into understanding what are the unique problems? I give you an example why we could not understand about visa problem, because we don't need visa. But visa is actually the heart and the life of international students. If they have some problem with that, they don't have the visa or they cannot renew that, they are illegal to actually be in Malaysia or in IIUM, etc. Usually they would face this. And the problem with visa, it's not just the visa unit, it extends to many others, the kuliah, it extends towards, mainly I would say kuliah or self-pad, students have. What we portray is media advocacy. Means what have been done so far, I would say mainly, to be honest, to the Member of Parliament, I have been advocating it on personal channel or account, but I look forward to extend it to the account of Student Union, okay, to advocate how is the life of these people, especially international, when it comes to issues that surrounds them, okay. Next, when it comes to international, also we try. It's not just me personally. It's not a one-man show. It's a collective, successful effort by all office in IIM Student Union to actually ensure that we involve international in anything that we are doing. And involving them doesn't just mean that, okay, we put one subcom, that is enough. No. It means that when we let them feel comfortable being with us, we let them join with their friends as well. And when they already join, this is where Office of President come up with a policy of English as official language. WhatsApp conversations, meetings, documentations, English, English, and English. Don't let them feel left behind. Okay, next, since I perhaps might got like around 4 to 5 minutes left. For postgraduate and disabled, why do you see there is a comma, not comma, question mark? Because this, thank you so much, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Why I put comma is because the first 6 months had been focusing on international individuals law selection and issue base. For postgraduate and disabled, we are currently still in crafting of what is the best way to ensure that they would not be left behind. There are ideas like making them involved perhaps by appointment, etc. But still, we are looking at the efficient possible way. And these Member of Parliament, all of you are people with great and creative ideas. And if you have ideas on how can we make sure that they are not left, please reach me out. I would really be in great, would be really appreciating that. Okay, final two, individual who lost elections. So basically, everyone who contested for election have spirits to together bring the students' union that we want to bring. So student union is just 2 years, it's new. There are a lot of people who are currently joining the students' union, both are elected and both who are not. So I would say currently student union, okay, are doing a very good job, especially led by Mr. President Darwish, where he have the aspiration to actually involve everyone who didn't win the election.
Thank you, guys. I'm so sorry. I will be starting from Mr. Darwish account. So example, we have Hafiz Zainal as the chief of staff, okay, in student union. We have Zainul Stakim as the chief of staff as well for PR, and then we have Fajru as the people who are helping international office, and we have many more other people who didn't win the election, but they were being involved in student their union because literally no one left behind, including those who wanted. Last but not least, to save your time, okay, issue based. Okay, now this happens to every situation across all spectrums. Issue based means students who really need us and we need to give attention to them. Who are the students? Sometimes it is the students who call late at night at 2 p.m. having emergency of having a broken hand. Sometimes it is also the students who reaches out and say, hey, I think perhaps the security officer, you know, kind of like give me a questionable customer service, though I already become ethical. Sometimes there are students who reaches out because they cannot eat. Sometimes there are students who reaches out that say, hey, I don't know how to actually complain about my lecturer to the kuliah because literally I have been very polite, but the lecturer is somehow problematic, So this kind of, I would say, case to case basis, okay, of students are also those who I try to ensure that they are not being left behind in the process of development of student unit. So that is all from me. Last but not least, I would love to conclude the sessions that no one left behind is not a one-man show. It may derive as my personal manifesto, but it was successfully being done, not because I did it, but because the whole member of student union actually understand the importance of this matter. And I would love to appreciate them and all of you, members of the parliament who believe in this aspiration. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much, Honorable Deputy President 1, Sister Anna Sophia, for your clarifications. Right, with the end of the Q&A session just now marks the end of our Parliament sitting for today. So on behalf of the Parliament Commission, I would like to take this opportunity to thank everyone, all the Parliament members for participating in today's Parliament sitting. We hope that everyone here has gained important information from the fruitful discussion. By the grace of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, let us end our Parliament today with the recitation of Dua, Tasbih, Kafarah, and Suratul Ans.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم إنك تعلم أن هذه القلوب قد اجتمعت على محبتك والتقت على طاعتك وتوحدت على دعوتك وتعاهدت على نصرة شريعتك فوثق اللهم رابطتها وأدم ودها واهدها سبلها واملها بنورك التي لا يكفو واشرح صدورها بفيض الإيمان بك وجميل توكل عليك واهدها بمعرفتك وأمتها على شهادة في سبيلك إنك نعم المولى ونعم النصير اللهم آمين صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم الحمد لله رب العالمين.
All right, before we adjourn, all members of the hall are invited to take pictures for the photography session. You may open your cameras. With that, I pass the floor to the commission members in charge.
Okay, I give you guys 1 minute to get ready and open your camera. Apa face? Okay, one, two, one, two, smile. Okay, again, 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, again, 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, thank you for your cooperation on this photography session. I will pass back to the MC.
All right, thank you to all time. The IIUM Central on the 20th of November at 2 now. Have a good rest, everyone.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you to Parliament Commission. for the next parliament. Assalamualaikum.